Jesus, bright them lights, aren't they?
Paddy, over here to your left. You know, I think obviously you've had a lot of attention on you since you come to the UFC, but this one feels like the biggest one, right? So far in your career, do you feel like this is the biggest fight you've had to take a part of?
Yeah, definitely. Every fight that I have now is going to be the biggest fight in my career. Obviously, everything's a must-win, and co-main event slot on the best pay-per-view of the year, best fight card of the year. It's where I need to shine.
Every fighter in their career has that one fight that sort of, in the eyes of the audience, proves them to be like a legit fighter, right? I think back to when Conor first fought Dustin. As he was coming through the ranks, suddenly everyone realised, like, oh, this guy's really good. Do you see this fight with Chandler as the one that, for you, shows the world, like, I'm not just a fun fighter, I'm a legit elite fighter?
I hope so. But the goalposts always get moved with me, lad. Like, everyone's saying now before the fight, oh, Chandler's going to knock him out, Paddy's not good. And then once I beat him, it'll be, oh, he's 2-4 in the UFC, he's 38, he's washed. You know what I mean? That's just, I'm used to it. I get on with it now. I just go out there and prove how good I am by winning.
I saw on your YouTube channel, which is a great channel, people should check it out, that you've started really like dialing in and taking your career seriously more than you ever have before. Do you feel the effects of that in the gym and when you train?
Yeah, feel it when I spar, feel it when I train. Even like doing me fight run-throughs the last couple of days when we've been training. I've never had this much energy fight week. I've never been able to smash pads for rounds and rounds and then do a fight sim after it. And everything's just coming together. You know, everyone always says it, it's very cliche, but I am in the shape of my life. I've never felt this good, and it'll show on the weekend.
Did we establish who has the bigger, most messed up hand, you or Michael?
Yeah, everyone started saying I've got a moose knuckle, which was quite funny. But yeah, I think I've got bigger hands than him, lad. He's only little, isn't he?
Paddy, right. You've used that phrase, you know, people are always moving the goalposts for you. And I remember you were saying something similar when you fought Tony and something similar when you fought Bobby Green or King Green. And then you said you kind of get on with it now. Did that ever bother you at all? And was there a moment when you were just like, all right, no, I got to move on from this?
Nah, it's been happening since I was an amateur, since I was 16, you know. People saying, oh, he'd beat you, and then when I beat them, it's like, oh, he's not even that good. Like, I'm used to it. It's been happening for years and years. It's something that's what's not new to me.
We've heard your name even when you were, you know, in the Cage Warriors days. We had been hearing of Paddy, and then obviously famously, you decided not to sign that first UFC contract to bet on yourself. But since around, even before then, it's felt like you've been this quote-unquote kind of superstar in the rising that we're going to have these big media days with. Can you remember a time that you felt like that? Like maybe you don't feel like a superstar, but people around you started to really, really recognize you, like around the world?
No, yeah, even when I was fighting on Cage Warriors, and I won the belt there, and that blew up a bit. And even when I'd go on holidays and I'd go to Thailand and Spain and stuff like that, I'd still get asked for pictures before I was even in the UFC. But then obviously when you get to the UFC, it's the Premier League of MMA, one fight and everywhere I go, like, it's just picture non-stop. But I don't mind it, know what I mean? People, as long as people use the manners, people say please. I always say to people, what's the magic word? So yeah, I don't mind getting pictures with people, it's all good, as long as I'm not with the babies.
When Conor and Sean O'Malley were on the rise, they used like this phrase, like they always knew this would happen. They couldn't really describe the feeling, but they always knew they would be this superstar even before they were pros. Did you have that feeling at all, or did you just kind of ride the wave?
No, I always said that. I always said where I met it, I always knew that this was coming. I always knew that this was in my future. That's why it hasn't fazed me at all. I just took it in my stride because I said from day one that this is what's going to happen. I'm going to be one of the biggest superstars in this sport, and I'm going to be a world champion one day.
And then this year, dating from the January pay-per-view even through your fight, we're seeing a lot of these young lightweight prospects, you know, like Rufi, Ignacio, Bohamondes, like Tom Nolan and everyone, and they've all said the same thing, like the top 10, 15 of lightweight are probably closer to retirement than their primes outside of Arman. And a few of them said, like, well, Paddy's kind of leading this charge of young lightweights coming up the division. Do you feel that? And do you kind of look like they might not be ranked, but do you see these guys as like, I'll probably have to fight this guy in like 3-4 years, maybe for a title?
Yeah, you never know. I've said the same myself. The old guard's changing. The old guard's going to fall out, or they're either all going to retire or they're going to end up on a trajectory like Tony Ferguson, because they're all getting on. Like, I think most of the top 10 is over 38. Well, 35, sorry. Like, Beneil, Moicano, Chandler, Poirier, Gagey, Charles. I don't know how old Gamrot is. I think Dan Uckle might be over 35 as well now. So the top 10 at lightweight in the next 3 years is going to be completely different, apart from me and Armin.
And then just last one for me. I think it was either you or your coach used the phrase, Charles showed the formula against Michael Chandler. So I guess what in that fight, without giving away your game plan, obviously, did you see from Charles and you're like, all right, this is the path to victory?
A lot of stuff, you know what I mean? I couldn't even name one. He kept him on the end of his shots. He showed how easy Michael Chandler is to take down. A lot of people thought Chandler was a high-level wrestler, but he might be a high-level, like, Division 1 wrestler where it's just straight wrestling, but MMA wrestling, I'm better at it. I'm a better grappler, I'm a better striker. He's just probably got more power in his hands, but we'll prove that on Saturday night, won't we? We'll see who's got more power, because I think there's more chance of me knocking him out than him knocking me out.
Paddy, right here. You mentioned all those names that are kind of on their way out of the division a little bit. Is that why you're trying to get these fights in as many as possible now? Because once they're gone, like, you look at the great fighters in the sport, they have these names of the former champions and stuff on their resumes, and it's important to try to get as many of those as possible before they move on for your legacy.
Yeah, of course. It'd be nice to get all the future Hall of Famers, because, like, Gagey, Poirier, definitely Charles. Like, if I could pick one of them to fight, it would be Charles Oliveira. He's got the most submissions in UFC history. Former champion, defended the belt twice. Well, missed weight one, but I'd still call that a defence. And I think me and him stylistically it'd be a brilliant fight. But as I say, I think Dustin's only having one more than retiring. But Gagey's another fight that I'd love to have. These are all names etched in the history of the lightweight division. They're all names that everyone knows and everyone recognises. So beating people like that, just be boss.
Yeah, I saw Dustin Poirier is going to be a desk analyst for this event. Does that excite you that you're maybe going to have to make him say some really nice things about you with your
Yeah, I don't think he likes me very much, to be honest. But I know he dislikes Michael Chandler a lot more than me. So, yeah, it'll be quite fun to have a little chat with him after I've won.
Paddy.
Paddy right here, sorry. Molly retired recently. Obviously, the two of you are very close. You've had some big nights together, the Paddy and Molly show, that 22 event when the UFC came back to London for the first time since COVID. Was it hard seeing her hang them up, and was there part of you that was kind of wishing, hey, maybe we could do this one more time together?
Yeah, of course. Know what I mean? I didn't want her to retire. I had a little inkling that she might do it, but I didn't think she'd just do it like that. The change of opponents really fucked her. You know what I mean? She was training to fight a striker and ended up getting a very high level grappler on a week's notice. So it really messed everything up. But as I say, I had a little inkling she'd do it. I think she had it in the back of her mind that if she lost, she was going to retire. And she's got other things going on in her life. I think she's always said she wants to have a child. She's got her own businesses, so she's got other things going on outside of fighting. Obviously, I'd love to have that one last rodeo, but it's one of them. We also have a life outside of fighting.
Fair enough. And, now you and Chandler, you both actually came into the UFC in 2021. Obviously, very different paths to get here. But when you look back to your Cage Warrior days and turning down that first contract and even taking a pay cut to be here on your first contract, is this what you envisioned back then? Has it exceeded your expectations?
No, yeah, this is exactly how I envisioned it. It's been a little bit slower because I got that injury and was out for a whole year. And then obviously my wife had twins. So we had a couple of months off after the last fight. So it's been a little bit slower, the trajectory, but everything's going smoothly. Everything's going to plan. My trajectory, the roadmap I'm taking, is going perfect. Beat Michael Chandler the weekend, then fight someone like, as I've just been saying, Charles, Justin or Dustin in Abu Dhabi in October. And then I'm coming for that belt in 2026.
Thank you.
Paddy, on a Full Send podcast, you had some words for Arman Tsarukyan. What prompted you to say that, and did you hear his response?
Yeah, I seen his response. It tickled me, made me laugh. It's just being honest, you know what I mean? I'm just brutally honest, I can't lie. If someone ever get asked about someone, I'm going to be honest. I seen him saying in an interview the other week that I don't watch anybody not in the top 5. I won't watch Chandler and Pimblett. Well, what are you tweeting me for then? You know what I mean? If you weren't concerned about people who aren't in the top 5, you wouldn't be tweeting me when I've said something about you. Like, people who say stuff about me, what are beneath me, I don't mention it, I just leave them to it. But, you know, I must be in his head. It's not my fault he shit his pants.
And with the win here, do you plan to call him out?
Anyone in the top 5, lad, I don't care. Like, it doesn't have to be a certain person. Like, it can be Armin, it can be Charles, it can be Justin, it can be Dustin. I just want to fight whoever's going to get me to that title. Like, I haven't got no personal vendettas against anyone, apart from Ilya. So, it's one of them. I'll fight anyone that they put in front of me. I'll never turn down a fight.
Hey, Paddy, right here. I'm from Brazil, and I was talking to Patricio Pitbull a couple of days ago, and he told me like you messaged him and he gave you some advice on Chandler without saying what it was. Is that something you plan on using on a fight?
Yeah, definitely. I messaged him when we was at the press conference a couple of weeks ago. I was going to try and get some training in with him, to be honest, because he's a little bit of a similar style to Chandler. You know what I mean? Short, stocky, throws big shots. And I could have played Yair for him. You know what I mean? I'm taller, rangy, throw a lot of kicks. But we just didn't find the time to get in with each other and do it. But at the media day, the press conference, we were in the back and we was talking to him and his coach and his brother, and he gave me a little few pointers, showed me a little few things. I think we might have a little bit of it on video. So after the fight, if that comes off, Pitbull will be getting a big shout out, and we'll share the video of what he was showing me.
That's pretty cool, thank you.
Paddy, 3 years ago you started the Paddy Foundation, which is geared towards helping men's mental health awareness and helps feed kids in needs. I wanted to ask, how's the foundation going, and do you have any cool projects coming up? It's
going great, you know what I mean? We're still raising funds constantly. One of the best things that we've done so far is a charity what does counselling in the UK called James's Place. It's a place that I actually went to myself when I was depressed and struggling with my mental health. I had sessions there, and we donated enough money for them to employ another counsellor, another member of staff for, I don't know if it was a year or 2 years. Like, we used the funds out the Paddy Foundation to do that, so more men can actually go and speak to someone and get mental health advice, and, you know, hopefully not do nothing drastic and not take their own life or try and harm themselves.
Paddy, real quick, some people have accused Michael Chandler, fans and past opponents, of maybe being a dirty fighter, of cheating, fish hooking, shots to the back of the head. Wondering, do you agree with that? Do you see him as a dirty fighter? And if so, I guess, how do you prepare for that? And do you have to have a conversation with the referee in the back to be like, hey, just be extra careful?
Yeah, he's the nicest man in the world outside the cage, and when he gets in it, he's a dirty bastard, isn't he? You know what I mean? But I always say, if you're not cheating, you're not trying. So I understand what he's trying to do. He wants to win, and that's the main thing when it comes to this game. But yeah, I probably will mention to the ref in the back, like, if he's going to grab me gloves and when I say, if he tries to poke me in the eye and stuff like that. Because that one against Charles, lad, when he punched him in the back of the head about 9 times or something, and the ref, I hope that's not my referee, put it that way. I hope I've got a good ref, like Goddard or Herzog. I don't want to have a ref that's just going to let me get rabbit punched in the back of the head consistently. The one what he done to Gage, he was bad as well when he poked him in the eye, and then the ref went to stop it and he just punched him in the face as hard as he could. As I say, Chandler's a real nice fella outside the octagon. I've bumped into him yesterday and had a chat with him, but in there he's a very, very dirty man.
Thank you. Good luck.
Any more now? All good.